Renegade Immortal Episode 68. Wang Lin faced Hong Dai once again. He wondered what kind of experience this was. Even with his trump cards, he couldn't injure Hong Dai at all. It even forced Wang Lin's ultimate move, the power of heavenly tribulation. Picking up where we left off, after the Wraith drove away Tian Bao Shangren's chariot, he prepared to go to the meeting place with Qi Hu. However, the Wraith's goal wasn't the immortal sword, but the enormous immortal coffin. In addition, there were also the immortal herbs in the pool. He reasoned that if these immortal herbs were used for alchemy, they could definitely help Li Muan's cultivation reach a new level. Meanwhile, on a fragment in the center of the immortal realm, Qi Hu of the Juemo clan sat cross-legged, waiting for Wang Lin's arrival. Qi Hu's formation suddenly flashed with a dazzling light. Then, a graceful figure with an extremely beautiful face appeared within the formation. But as soon as she appeared, a chilling aura permeated the surroundings. Seeing this, a flash of delight crossed Qi Hu's eyes. He immediately stood up, cupped his fists, and said with a smile, "Fellow Taoist Hong Dai, I have been waiting for a long time." It was indeed the chosen one, Hong Dai, who had been pursuing the Wraith. Hong Dai looked at Qi Hu with disdain. Her gaze fixed on him, she said coldly, "If what you say is false, I will not let you off easily." Qi Hu smiled again. "Fellow Taoist Hong Dai, please rest assured. Since you have arrived, I will no longer hide it." This was personally witnessed by the esteemed ancestor of our Juemo clan. He is highly respected and would not lie. Hearing this, Hong Dai's expression softened slightly. It turned out that this esteemed ancestor was a senior of her master. Their families had a long-standing friendship. Since it was personally witnessed by the esteemed ancestor, there shouldn't be any falsehood. She declared, "I will go with you. But of the spoils, I only want the jade coffin." Qi Hu pondered for a moment. "Fellow Taoist Hong Dai, I'm afraid that's not appropriate. Besides you and me, there is another person who will also participate in this matter. This person is named Xing Niu. Like us, he also comes from the Vermilion Bird Star." Hearing this, Hong Dai was stunned. The figures of the other four people quickly flashed through her mind. However, the formation in front of them suddenly flashed with a bright light again. Wang Lin's figure appeared from the teleportation formation. Hong Dai's eyes narrowed. "It's him." A white spiritual bird, as fast as lightning, instantly shot towards the teleportation formation. Wang Lin was completely taken aback. What the hell is Qi Hu up to? He then flung the Chu Beast bracelet on his right wrist forward, creating a piercing shriek as it transformed into a thunderous bird. A huge ball of lightning shot straight towards the icy bird. Bang! The white icy bird and the thunderball collided. The impact instantly stirred up a wave of air more than half a person tall. A completely frozen thunderball appeared in the air. The cold air continued to spread. The Thunderbird let out a miserable cry and was immediately frozen solid. Seeing this, the Wraith lightly touched his forehead. Streams of black shadows instantly shot out from between his eyebrows, transforming into wandering souls that roared towards Hong Dai. However, seeing this, Qi Hu was clearly even more bewildered than Wang Lin. At this point, Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot. With a flick of his wrist, dozens of cold auras intertwined, forming a black spear. He pointed it directly at Hong Dai. Hong Dai retreated and an ice sculpture appeared in her right hand. The ice sculpture instantly expanded, transforming into an ice beast taller than a person. The ice beast emitted a brilliant blue light. The wandering souls screamed in agony under the blue light. Then, the black spear formed by Wang Lin's spiritual energy pierced through the blue light like lightning. Wang Lin shouted, "Hong Dai, your parents have no one to perform their last rites. This is filial impiety. You massacred 4 sects for your own selfish desires. This is inhumanity. Your master is still alive, yet you sold yourself to the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. This is disloyalty. You unfilial, inhuman, and disloyal person, what kind of path are you cultivating?" Under Wang Lin's terrifying spear attack, Qi Hu couldn't help but take a few steps back. He didn't expect Xing Niu to possess such a terrifying move. He thought to himself, this person must be a genius of the Zheng family. If I don't use our clan's treasure, I'm afraid I won't be able to withstand this spear. However, Hong Dai was, after all, young. Compared to Wang Lin, an old monster who had lived for over 400 years, her cultivation was clearly much less mature. Hong Dai kept retreating while Wang Lin pressed forward step by step. As the chosen one of the Snow Region Kingdom, she had never encountered such a predicament since birth. However, Wang Lin's spear attack shocked her greatly. Although the power of the spear wasn't immense, it carried a trace of heavenly tribulation's might. But Hong Dai was, after all, a late-stage transformation cultivator. As she retreated, she pressed both hands to her forehead. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. Within this blood, a red light flashed, instantly transforming into a delicate rose. As soon as this flower appeared, Hong Dai's ice sculpture immediately melted, nourishing the rose, making it even more vibrant. Wang Lin's spear arrived just in time and struck the rose. A single petal fell from the flower. Wang Lin's expression changed drastically. The spear in his hand shattered at that moment. Wang Lin sighed softly. His perfectly timed attack had failed to defeat Hong Dai. However, a ruthless intent suddenly spread throughout Wang Lin's body. Sensing danger, Wang Lin immediately retreated. Hong Dai stared at the retreating Wang Lin and said through gritted teeth, "You are the first person to force me to use my natal magic treasure. Even death would bring me honor." She then plucked a petal from the rose. At this moment, Qi Hu shouted, "Stop, fellow Taoist Hong Dai. Brother Xing, I invited you both here. If you continue to fight, don't blame me for being impolite." However, Hong Dai appeared to want to retort something along the lines of, "Grown-ups are fighting, children stay out of it." As Hong Dai gently crushed the petal in her hand, the ground suddenly trembled. Numerous cracks appeared in the sky. Clearly, the power of the petal had reached the limit that the immortal realm fragment could withstand. Seeing this, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. The scripture flew out of his hand and ascended into the air. Wang Lin softly uttered 2 words, "Injia." The wraith had been forced to use the power of heavenly tribulation. So, can the wraith, wielding the power of heavenly tribulation, defeat Hong Dai? How imposing was Wang Matzi when he used the power of heavenly tribulation? He could collapse a fragment of the immortal realm with a single piece of paper, and he scared the giant demon Qi Hu into revealing his avatar true form to stand on Wang Lin's side. Continuing from the last episode, during the Immortal Maiden's assistance, Wang Lin encountered Red Butterfly for the first time and was thoroughly beaten, almost losing his life. Within the same realm, Wang Lin had never suffered such a loss, so Wang Matzi directly used the heavenly tribulation. As Wang Lin's hands continuously formed seals, the sky instantly became overcast with dark clouds. Rumbling sounds echoed for 10 miles around. This was the prelude to the arrival of the heavenly tribulation. Seeing this, Red Butterfly's expression changed drastically. A strong sense of crisis arose spontaneously, a feeling he had never experienced in his life. If he allowed Wang Lin to cast the spell, he would probably die. Meanwhile, Qi Hu's face also changed dramatically. He realized that Xing Niu, Wang Lin's alias, hadn't used his full power before, and that this black fog was his true method. He hurriedly shouted to Red Butterfly, "Fellow Taoist Red Butterfly, both of you were invited by me. If you insist on fighting, you're showing me no respect. I will have to join forces with Brother Xing. If I survive, I will report this matter to Patriarch Xi." As soon as he finished speaking, a phantom over 10 feet tall appeared behind Qi Hu. Its eyes flashed with sharp light, staring directly at Red Butterfly. Red Butterfly hesitated for a moment. He knew that Xing Niu's divine abilities were extraordinary. If he insisted on fighting, this immortal realm fragment would definitely collapse. "All right, Qi Hu, for your sake today, I'll spare his life for now. But the immortal jade coffin must belong to me." Qi Hu was about to respond, but Wang Lin laughed. "Red Butterfly, do you really think I can't kill you? With a snap of my fingers, this immortal realm fragment will collapse. Do you believe me?" Red Butterfly's face turned pale. Seeing this, Qi Hu quickly mediated, "Brother Xing, I propose that we split the findings 3 ways. How about that? Wang Lin smiled and said, "Okay, I'll follow Brother Qihu's arrangements." In reality, Wang Lin didn't want to use the power of the heavenly tribulation. Due to the special structure of this immortal realm fragment, no one would be able to escape from the collapsing fragments. However, Red Butterfly relentlessly said, "Xing Niu, after we return to the Vermilion Bird Star, do you dare fight me?" Red Butterfly was persistent. After Xing Niu returned to the Vermilion Bird Star, would he dare to fight him? "Xing Niu, after you return to the Vermilion Bird Star, do you dare fight me?" Wang Lin laughed heartily and responded loudly, "I accept your challenge." Then, with a thought, the black fog in the sky quickly condensed into a funnel shape and transformed into a flag, which he stored in his storage bag. The black fog condensed into a streamer, which he put away. As for Lei Hua, although Wang Lin had retrieved it, it was severely injured. This made Wang Lin's killing intent even stronger. Red Butterfly took a deep look at Wang Lin. He had to admit that this person truly had the strength to fight him. Qihu secretly breathed a sigh of relief, smiling wryly to himself. If he had known these two had a grudge, he would never have called them here together. Leaving Red Butterfly aside, this Xing Niu, with only early nascent soul cultivation, could fight against a late nascent soul cultivator. He was definitely not an ordinary person. Then, Qihu took out a jade slip. The two followed Qihu, flying towards the mysterious place indicated by the jade slip. During the flight, Wang Lin carefully recalled his battle with Red Butterfly. It had been quite rewarding. The three arrived at the other end of the Immortal Realm fragment. What came into view was a large mountain that resembled a dragon. Wang Lin looked up at the peak and asked, "Brother Qihu, why hasn't the place indicated by the jade slip been discovered yet?" Qihu looked at Wang Lin and said with a smile, "To be honest with you, Brother Xing, the reason why I'm certain that the place indicated by the jade slip hasn't been discovered is because the fragment it's on isn't accessible through the whirlpool." Wang Lin's eyes showed curiosity after hearing this. Red Butterfly also focused his gaze, seemingly quite interested in Qihu's words. The fragment where the jade slip points to is an overlapping fragment. Wang Lin immediately understood. It turned out that the Immortal Realm fragments were numerous and had split irregularly. So naturally, a small number of fragments would overlap by chance. Such overlaps were naturally difficult to detect. Afterwards, Qihu arrived in front of a formation. Entering from this formation would lead directly to the closest point to the fragment. Qihu went to a formation. Entering through there would take them directly to the nearest point to the fragment. Meanwhile, within a fragment near the southern end, the environment was not only extremely harsh, but the raging cold currents had already frozen the ground. Wang Lin stepped out of the formation in midair and couldn't help but frown. Red Butterfly, on the other hand, had a look of enjoyment on his face. Clearly, this place was very comfortable for him. However, this was only the first layer of the fragment. 300,000 li ahead was the land of 10,000-year ice. After flying for several li, Wang Lin looked back in the direction they came from, a trace of doubt flashing in his eyes. Shortly after the three left, a middle-aged man holding a gourd appeared from where the earth met the glacier. After taking a large gulp, he muttered to himself, "Tinger, once we get the immortal jade, we'll leave. Those three, like me, are from the Vermilion Bird Star. But if anyone dares to compete with me for the immortal jade, I will definitely not let them off." Wang Lin and the others arrived at the easternmost point of the fragment. Suddenly, in the distance, a layer of blue fog, as if it were about to devour the heavens and earth, was spreading towards their location. It turned out that this was glacial fog, containing extreme icy qi. Qihu's eyes flashed, and he said to Red Butterfly, "It's your turn." This place required Red Butterfly's divine ability to resist the extreme icy qi. This was also the reason why Qihu had invited Red Butterfly on this treasure hunt. Red Butterfly retrieved an ice sculpture from his storage bag. In an instant, in front of the three of them, it transformed into a snow fairy several zhang tall. The snow fairy ice sculpture flew forward. As soon as it touched the blue fog, the fog slowly dispersed, opening a path for them. Wang Lin observed the snow fairy ice sculpture and discovered hundreds of meridians rapidly flowing within it. In addition, there were some dim meridians that hadn't been activated yet. He thought to himself, this must be a precious treasure of the Snow Region Kingdom. It was similar to the previous human-headed snake-bodied creature. With the snow fairy ice sculpture clearing the way, the three continued to speed forward. As they went deeper, the blue fog became denser. Cracking sounds could be heard from the snow fairy ice sculpture as cracks appeared. Red Butterfly frowned, his hands quickly forming seals and pointing at the ice sculpture. Instantly, the dim meridians within the snow fairy brightened, repairing the cracks in the ice sculpture. Behind the three, in the distance, the middle-aged man with the gourd was stealthily following. But as the blue fog approached him, it seemed to encounter an invisible resistance and could only bypass him. What cultivation level was this person? Even Red Butterfly, a late nascent soul cultivator, treated this fog with such caution, yet he walked through it as if it were nothing. Just how treacherous is Wang Lin, this backstabber? At a critical moment, he abandoned his teammates and ran away. If this were League of Legends, he'd be reported for leaving the game. Picking up where we left off, during the Immortal Maiden Rescue mission, Wang Lin, to obtain the Immortal Domain Coffin, teamed up with Qi Hu, Hong Dai, and others. They arrived at a fragmented realm of overlapping immortal planes. However, this place was not only a world of ice and frost, but also possessed a blue mist that could instantly freeze cultivators. Therefore, to resist this eerie mist, Hong Dai deployed the Snow Region's guaranteed protection, the Snow Fairy Ice Sculpture. Several days later, although the blue mist gradually faded, Hong Dai had used up 3 Snow Fairy Ice Sculptures. With the sudden appearance of a purple mist, the ice sculpture completely shattered. Seeing this, Hong Dai released her natal magic treasure, the rose flower, and overcame the crisis. However, she appeared slightly pale due to the severe depletion of her spiritual energy. Meanwhile, Wang Lin was shocked. Even ordinary late-stage nascent soul cultivators would likely struggle to advance in this place. Only those like Hong Dai, who had cultivated ice and snow techniques since childhood, could pass through safely. The blue mist finally dissipated completely. When the three arrived at the edge of the glacier, Hong Dai, with an expressionless face, coldly said, "I've done what I needed to do. I will not make another move." Hearing this, Qi Hu laughed heartily. "Hong Dai, leave the rest to us. You've expended a tremendous amount of spiritual energy these past few days. You need to rest well." As he spoke, he glanced at Wang Lin meaningfully and positioned himself between Wang Lin and Hong Dai. But Wang Lin believed that Hong Dai might be feigning weakness to lure him into making a move. Wang, pockmark, with his deep cunning, wouldn't be easily fooled. Just then, Qi Hu retrieved an object from his storage pouch, which instantly transformed into a giant compass and hovered 10 jung ahead in the dark void. Hong Dai's gaze locked onto it. She asked coldly, could this be the giant troll tribe's guaranteed treasure, the star compass? Yes, Qi Hu nodded. Wang Lin was also captivated by the compass. He saw countless profound and unusual patterns carved upon it. Even a glimpse felt like it could draw one's divine sense into it. Through the memories of the ancient god Tusi, Wang Lin had learned about the star compass and its refining method. But many of the required materials had long since vanished. If this truly were the star compass, with Wang Lin's current cultivation, he would be unable to control it. Therefore, this must be a pseudo-star compass. Hong Dai walked directly to the west side of the compass, the designated position, and sat down. Immediately, a light green glow appeared around her. Then Qi Hu said to Wang Lin, "Brother Xing, the archer position is yours to guard." Because this void was filled with the unknown, Wang Lin's soul-searching technique could help Qi Hu observe the surrounding situation while they traveled. However, Wang Lin's expression suddenly changed. 10 li ahead of the compass, a creature resembling a giant octopus was waving its countless thick tentacles. Wang Lin transmitted this alarming image through divine sense, clearly conveying it into the minds of the other two. Seeing this, Qi Hu made a decisive move and manipulated the compass to change direction. But during the detour, a tentacle swept across. A deafening roar erupted. The compass vibrated violently and spun rapidly, thrown northward by a powerful force. Chihu exhausted all his strength to stabilize the compass. Then, panting, he took a medicinal pill from his storage pouch and swallowed it. Hongdai asked in confusion, "What kind of demonic creature was that?" Chihu, still shaken, replied, "Although I don't recognize it, it lives in the void of the immortal realm. Its power is definitely not something we can match." At that moment, Wang Lin said in a deep voice, "That creature is called Su, a lesser obliteration creature. They devour the earth for sustenance and exhale yin qi as yang." Apparently, in ancient times, even ancient cultivators, when encountering such creatures, often needed to join forces to defeat them. Hearing this, Chihu exclaimed in admiration, "Brother Zhang's vast knowledge truly impresses me." However, Hongdai questioned, "These are just rumors. Who can verify their truth?" Faced with the doubt, Wang Lin simply replied, "Ignorance." A flicker of anger flashed in Hongdai's eyes. Chihu, seeing this, was about to ease the tension. Wang Lin urgently said, "This creature usually remains hidden, only revealing its true form when hunting. Brother Chihu, we must fly north as quickly as possible. Because when this creature hunts, it emits a red Su-Chi. That Su-Chi is far too powerful for us to withstand." Chihu's expression showed hesitation. In truth, he also doubted the veracity of Wang Lin's words. Seeing this, Wang Lin, knowing time was of the essence, didn't say any more. He leaped forward, flew out of the Xinlua compass alone, and relying on the Jing fan wrapped around his whole body, quickly flew north. Seeing this, Chihu exclaimed in shock. Hongdai sneered, thinking that Wang Lin was simply courting death. However, their expressions changed drastically. Not far away, a surging wave of red air surged up. It was spreading at an alarming rate. Chihu's heart skipped a beat. He immediately controlled the compass and flew north at full speed. Although Chihu flew with all his might, the speed of the red air wave far exceeded his imagination. The moment the air wave touched the compass, one side of the compass mysteriously disappeared. As the compass vibrated violently, Chihu's face became increasingly gloomy. Chihu anxiously shouted, "Hongdai, act quickly. I am fully controlling the compass and cannot be distracted to cast spells to resist." He was filled with regret. If he had listened to Xingnyo's advice, he wouldn't be in such danger now. Hongdai quickly summoned her natal magic treasure, the rose flower. She nimbly plucked 2 petals with her right hand and flicked them towards the surging red air wave. Although it temporarily blocked the air wave, the number of petals was limited, and it wouldn't last long. Chihu's eyes were bloodshot, frantically manipulating the compass, trying to force his way through the red air wave. The red air wave, struck by the rose petals, split open, creating a gap. But this gap was like a giant mouth, quickly devouring the compass. With a loud boom, the gap closed, and the compass was hit hard again. Faced with such a crisis, Hongdai could only grit her teeth and pluck a stamen from the rose flower, flinging it towards the airwave. Continuous rumbling sounds echoed throughout the fragments. Even Wang Lin, who was far away, clearly heard the loud noise. He looked back with a sneer on his lips and sped up again. Under Hongdai's powerful attack, the devouring airwave that had transformed into a giant mouth quickly dissipated. The compass finally broke free. At this moment, Hongdai's face was as ugly as it had ever been. She knew the petals could be replenished, but there were only 3 stamens. Suddenly, Wang Lin stopped. He saw the battered compass flying towards him. Seeing this, Chihu couldn't help but give a wry smile. At this moment, Wang Lin's status in his heart rose infinitely, even surpassing Hongdai. Can Wang Lin obtain the immortal domain coffin? Please give us a like, fellow Taoists. We'll continue in the next episode.